Welcome in, Broncos country, to our mailbag episode, answering the most pressing Denver Broncos questions from Broncos fans like you to me, another Denver Broncos fan. And this is, of course, right before our Week 6 matchup in London, Governor, against the New York Jets. And they are a complete dumpster fire. The Broncos currently are at a 6.5 spread. I think it'll be worse than that, in my honest and humble opinion. But you cannot take any single game lightly. However, I think it should be interesting to note the Denver Broncos have won 2 games in a row. One against the Cincinnati Bengals on Monday Night Football, and then the next one against the Philadelphia Eagles. If you want to get the winning streak started, and you're watching during our live show, or you're watching during our regularly scheduled programming, type your threes in the comment section right now. I want to see as many threes as possible to get the winning streak started. Let's start our mailbag episode with the $10 super chat from our guy, Tony. 24-13 is my prediction for Sunday. Go Orange Crush 2.0. This has the ability to be an all-time defense. I am right there with you for sure, Tony. 24-13, in my opinion, feels a little closer than it should. I'm going to say my official prediction for the score, 27-10. That'll be mine. I'll add a field goal for the Broncos and subtract one for the New York Jets. But appreciate you getting in your $10 super chat, as always, my friend. Another one from Tony coming in with that $10 super chat. We're going back-to-back Tonys. Do you think the Denver Broncos can break the all-time single sack record held by the 1985 Bears? 72. The Broncos have 21 sacks. That is 4.2 per game. That is on pace for 71. So, yes, I do think the Broncos can absolutely do that. Nick Bonito looks like he's going to have 17 by himself. But I will say this. You got to continue to rack them up, especially against really bad offensive lines like the New York Jets, who are dead last in a multitude of categories. All right. Thank you, Tony, for getting on the show. We appreciate it. Coming in with our next question, Mr. Pinky up. When Greenlaw comes back, who would you rather have next to him, Singleton or Stranad? Probably Singleton. Singleton's a better playmaker than Stranad, but Singleton's really bad in pass coverage, like really, really bad. I'd still go Singleton, but if Singleton continues to struggle in pass coverage, I might go the opposite. I might go Justin Stranad. Honestly, I don't know why we haven't activated Lavelle Bailey. I really don't. I think Lavelle Bailey is an excellent linebacker. I would love to see him play later on this season. Thanks, Pinky, for getting in on everything. Tony Decker, what would it take to have Moss move to safety and Barron to the outside cornerback position? Well, if you went and checked out my most recent video about benching Riley Moss, which got a lot of crazy comments from a bunch of different Broncos fans, I would say this. I don't think he's big enough or strong enough to play safety. I think the only other place that you could move him would be that inside nickel corner spot, but even then, I think that's a harder position to play than that outside cornerback position. So, honestly, if you were going to bench Riley, you'd probably have to bring him in as a rotational corner. So, in case you wanted to play majority of snaps for Barron on the outside, but then move Barron back to the nickel corner every so often, you could end up bringing Riley back in for a couple of plays here and a couple of plays there. Appreciate it, Tony. Cornbread. How would you start off the game against the Jets? Run, and run a little bit more. J.K. Dobbins' legacy game. I want to see more than 100 yards rushing from J.K. Dobbins. The New York Jets are 27th in the league in rushing yards allowed per game. So they don't have any good things going for them on the defensive line. They've got one good corner in Sauce Gardner. I would really, really love to see the Broncos establish the run early, kind of like how they did against the Cincinnati Bengals on Monday Night Football. I think this is almost an identical game where you can really establish the run quickly and get off to an early lead. Chase, can PS2 become the best cornerback of all time? Well, in my opinion, the best cornerback of all time, and this is just my opinion, the best cornerback of all time is Darrelle Revis, who coincidentally played for the Jets for the longest time. So yes, I do believe PS2 can become the best cornerback of all time. He's not there yet. He's got to come a long, long way. However, there is a possibility. You never want to say never. Another defensive player of the year, another couple of years of being locked down, and maybe he gets into the conversation. Literally Vance. I wonder if this is actually Vance Joseph talking about himself. How likely is it that Vance Joseph gets a head coaching job in 2026? Oh, I was hoping nobody would ask this question. I don't want to think about this. I really don't. But because you asked the question, I'll indulge. It's very likely at this point. I take no pleasure in saying that because I think Vance Joseph, since he's taken over the defensive coordinator position, outside of that 2023 season, has been fantastic. So going back to the beginning of last year up until now, with the right personnel, you can clearly see how good he is at calling plays. I mean, just take a look at what they rank in 2025 alone. Total sacks, 21. That's first in the NFL. Explosive play rate allowed, 4.7. That's sixth best in the NFL. Pressure rate in general, third best at 44.5%. And the no blitzes and pressure rates, meaning when when the Broncos don't blitz, they still get almost nearly as much pressure as they do when they blitz. That's also third in the NFL. So, again, I don't want to think about him moving on, but there are a lot of head coaches right now in the NFL that are currently on the hot seat. Here's 5 of them right out of the gate. Mike McDaniel for the Dolphins, Brian Callahan for the Titans, Kevin Stefanski, Dable, and Canales. All 5 of these teams have had really bad starts to their 2025 season, and all 5 coaches are 100% on the hot seat. And look, Broncos fans, you should not be naive to this fact whatsoever. Vance Joseph got a shot with the Broncos a lot earlier on in his coaching tenure. It didn't work out, but I'm sure he wants one more redemption shot as being a head coach. And maybe if that doesn't work out, maybe he comes back to the Broncos and ends up being the all-time defensive coordinator until he's ready to retire. But at this point, I'm sure VJ wants his shot at being a head coach one more time. So that's why if I ask you this question, I'm penciling in my yes. If you're watching during our live show, let me know in the comment section down below if VJ will get a head coaching gig in 2026. I think it's almost pretty much guaranteed that he will. Now, before we get on with more about our questions from you, Denver Broncos fans, we got to say a little quick thank you to our friends over at Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every single day, but on Prize Picks, being right can actually get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this football season on Prize Picks, where it is good to be right. You can now follow other Prize Picks players directly on the app and copy their lineups in just one click, whether it's a friend or a celebrity partner like producer Alper on the ones and twos, or just someone whose picks you like. Hit that follow button and check out every lineup they create in the new feed tab on Prize Picks. I made a lineup just for you in week 6. And of course, I had to throw a little J.K. Dobbins in there as well, and the more in the rushing yards. Jalen Hurts, Drake May, and Dak Prescott. Like I said, I'm a glutton. I love the more. Yours can look completely different than mine. It can look exactly like mine. All you got to do is download the Prize Picks app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It is good to be right. All of that in the comments and description of today's video. Devontae, should we get Jakobi Meyers? Imagine him in our system with Court. It would be sick. It would be unbelievable, my friend. It really would. However, say it out loud. The Las Vegas Raiders trade Jakobi Meyers to the Denver Broncos. Does it even sound correct to you? The Raiders would rather put Geno Smith up for adoption and quite literally fire Pete Carroll, fire John Spytek, fire their entire team before they did a trade with the Denver Broncos. I don't see it happening, at least not in 2025. However, to indulge your question, yes, it would feed families. Jakobi Meyers is an excellent player, I believe. Broncos Unchained. Do we move Talanoa Hufanga to inside linebacker and Barron to strong safety? It's not a bad idea. Look, Hufanga's a hard-hitting dude. You could move him onto the inside linebacker position and just kind of let him roam around the middle of the field. He's got much better coverage skills than any linebacker you've got in your room currently. The only problem I worry with is Jahdae Barron to safety. And the reason I say that is not because he's incapable of playing the position, because he did play it in college a little bit. It's the fact that he's not big enough. he'd have to put on about 5 to 10 pounds if you really wanted to start rotating him into that position. He's a good tackler. He's a willing run defender. I think he's got a lot of really good characteristics to play safety. But put on 5 to 10 pounds and then come talk to me. Outside of that, it's a really interesting statistic and a really interesting hypothetical. Canadian EH, and then we'll do one more after this and we'll get on out of here. When do the Broncos make a move for a good left guard? Well, we have a good left guard. His name is Ben Powers. He's just on the short-term IR right now until December with that bicep injury. But if you're asking, like, in replace of him right now, I don't think you need to. I think Alex Palczewski is going to do a great job. Palcho's a great, plug-and-play left guard or offensive lineman. He can kind of do a bunch of stuff. If he starts to struggle, I know that Brandon Scherf is an available name that you could go after. Didn't he announce his retirement, Producer Rappler? Yeah, I think he announced his retirement. But if you called him up and said, hey, do you want to make a quick $1 million? He'd probably be like, sure, I'll get back onto the team. And maybe a chance to win a Super Bowl ring. But I appreciate your question. Last one from our guy, Lamar. What up, Lamar? Should they try to go after Isaiah Simmons? I did see that... who was the team that worked him out? It was recent. The Steelers. The Steelers worked out Isaiah Simmons. So he's being worked out by teams right now. The Steelers are interested in signing him. I would love Isaiah Simmons on this team. I think he is an athletic machine, a freak, somebody who has got such jump-off-the-wall traits. He's not good in coverage, so he'd kind of be like another Alex Singleton. But, man, could you put him next to Alex Singleton for right now? Like, you'd have some really, really good run stoppers. I don't know. Come back to me in about a week. We'll see if we'll make another video. That's going to do it for us on today's episode. Our mailbag coming at you. Appreciate everybody who got their questions in Broncos country. We will see you tomorrow for our very nice watch party against the New York Jets. Get ready to get that W back in the win column. As always, a little mile high salute to you. Be cool.